15 years ago, I was a university dropout, earning the equivalent of around $500 a month in a call center. Today, I work as freelance lead analyst. My income is roughly 16 times higher, and based on the data, it places me around the top 1% of earners in the country. I didn't build a company. I didn't become an influencer. What changed was the way I made career decisions. I learned to choose better problems, build a rare combination of skills, and leave situations that stopped me helping me grow. In this video, I'll give you 3 rules I wish I had known at 22. I'll also show you the mistake that kept me underpaid for years, and the skill that eventually made me much harder to replace. The surprising part is that the biggest increase didn't come from working the hardest. It came from changing what the market was paying me for. Okay, what this story is and what is not. This is not a formula that guarantees you top income. Location, health, family, responsibilities, timing, luck, and industry all matter. And income is not a measure of intelligence, character, or contribution. Some of the most valuable people in society are not paid in proportion to the value they create. But if earning more is one of your goals, you should understand what the market rewards. In my experience, it rewards 3 things: solving valuable problems, having skills that are difficult to replace, and being able to create leverage beyond your own hours. This is the lens for this whole video. Not how can I become rich, but how can I become more valuable in the market that actually pays for that value. And the first answer is not work longer. I learned that one the hard way. My starting point: effort without a strategy. I grew up in the Czech Republic, where I still live. My parents worked blue-collar jobs their whole lives. They gave me 2 things that I became important later: a strong work ethic and respect for money. I started saving early, even when I did not earn much. I tried to spend less than I earned. At the time, it seems like a small habit. Later, it gave me options: time to think, the ability to say no to bad role, and more courage to make a change. I also went to university, but I didn't finish. For a long time, I saw that as proof that I was behind everyone else. My first proper job was in a call center. I earned around $500 per month and later became a team leader. That job taught me how to deal with people, solve real problems, and take responsibility for other people's performance. But I had no clear career strategy. I believed that if I worked hard, stayed loyal, and did good work, somebody would eventually reward me. Sometimes it can happen, but waiting to be noticed is not a strategy. My first important change was not a raise or a promotion. It was learning to judge a job by the next skill it gave me. Decision 1. Choose problems that are worth more. The first big shift was moving into finance. From there, I moved through product management, project management, process management in banking, business analyst in insurance. Then I was business IT analyst in private banking company, and now I'm freelance lead analyst in insurance. That might look like a random series of job titles. It was not a perfect plan, but there was a pattern. Each move put me closer to more complex, more expensive problems. Finance, banking, and insurance have complicated products, regulations, legacy system, legal requirements, data, and many stakeholders. That complexity can be frustrating, but it also means companies have a real need for people who can make difficult work move forward. Here is the practical questions I wish I had asked earlier. Is the problem I solve important enough that someone is willing to pay well to solve it? You do not need to move into finance. The same can be true in healthcare, energy, cybersecurity, and industrial operations, B2B software, or any other field where there are costly problems. The next decision is what changed that for me. Decision 2. Build a combination, not just a job title. The most valuable skill I built was not one software tool, certificate, or methodology. It was a translation. I learned to speak with senior management about business outcomes, costs, risk, strategy, and then I could speak with product teams about customer needs and trade-offs. Then I could work with developers and QA teams on what had to be built. And I could involve legal and compliance before they become the last minute blocker. All of these groups of people may be discussing the same features, but they are often speaking different professional languages. On one complicated project, I helped management understand why a feature mattered, worked with product on trade-offs, creating a detailed specification for the development team, and made sure legal and compliance requirements were addressed. The feature launched successfully and produced a positive financial result. I was not the only person responsible for it, but I learned something important. I did not need to be the best specialist in every room. I need to help the specialists understand one another and make a decision. That is when communication becomes much more than a soft skill. It becomes economic value. Here is a simple version you can use in almost any role. Start conversation with the outcome, not the task. Ask, what business result are we trying to create? And translate that outcome into the language each team needs: customer value, cost, risk, scope, or implementation. Hard work can keep you stuck. Earlier in my career, I tried very hard to please people. I worked long hours. I believed that if I kept my head down and delivered quality work, my compensation would eventually become fair. For several years, I was underpaid. No one came to tell me that. I had to research it myself. Here is the salary search process I use now. First, I look at the comparable roles in my location, industry, and seniority, not only the job titles. And second is to speak to recruiters and to people who do similar work. Ask about total compensation and employment type. Write down the value you have delivered. Revenue protected or created, costs reduced, risk avoided, project delivered or teams enabled. And identify realistic alternatives before you negotiate. Then you can have a calm conversation. You are not trying to defeat your manager. You are making the market reality, your contribution and your options clear. And the final point, options, is the one the most people miss. It also why my simple 3 light rule that saved me from staying too long. Over time, I created a simple way to judge a job. I look at the work, the people, and the pay. The work, it is meaningful, interesting, or teaching me something valuable. The people, can I trust the team and leadership? Is that environment healthy enough to do good work? The pay, is the fair for the market and the responsibility with the credible path to improve? No job is green in all 3 areas all the time. You can accept one red light for a while. Maybe the pay is not ideal, but you are learning a high valuable skill from excellent people. That can be a smart trade. Maybe the work is less exciting, but the team is strong and the pay gives you stability. That also can be fine. But if 2 from the 3 lights are red, I begin planning my exit. That does not mean quitting tomorrow. It means researching the market, saving money, improving your CV, speaking to people, and building your options before desperation makes the decisions for you. The rule is simple enough to remember after a bad week and strong enough to stop you staying in bad situation for years. This is a rule I wish I had used before every one of my career moves. It would have made one of them happen much sooner. Decision 3. Move strategically, not emotionally. I changed roles or employees 7 times. Every move increased my pay, but that does not mean changing job is automatically the answer for everybody. The lesson is not leave every 2 years or something like that. The lesson is regularly understand your market value and do not let fear to be the only reason you stay. The largest increase in my income happened in my 3 most recent moves. The jump into freelancing roughly doubled my previous take-home income and moved me from around the top 10% to around the top 1% nationally. But freelancing was not a free upgrade. I exchanged some stability and employees' protection for more responsibility, more risk, and higher earning potential. It only made sense because of the work that came before it. Industry knowledge, my specialist skills, relationship, savings, and experience working across large organizations. If you are considering a job change, do not ask only, will this pay more? Ask, what will I learn that the wider market values? Which problems and people will I gain access to? And does this increase my options 1 or 2 moves from now? My personal rule is that the new role should teach me something valuable or significantly increase my income. Ideally, it does both. My invisible advantage: savings and trusted relationships. Saving money did not create my career, but it gave me breathing room. When every euro or dollar from your salary is already committed, a bad job has more power over you. Even a small financial buffer can give you time to search properly, negotiate calmly, or choose a role because it is a good opportunity, not because you have no alternatives. Professional relationships matter in the same way. A good network is not hundreds of contacts you only call when you need something. It's a reputation built over time. Like, help people solve problems, communicate clearly, deliver what you promise, and make others people work easier. Over time, people remember this. Your reputation begins entering rooms before you do. I also want to acknowledge my wife. We discuss big decisions and strategy together. Her encouragement helped me take steps I was overthinking, and I tried to do the same for her. If I were starting again today, I would not wait 15 years to apply these ideas. I would start with 3 small actions this month. First, check whether you are underpaid. Spend 1 hour comparing similar roles in your location and industry. Look at the job advertisements, speak with the recruiters, and ask people you trust. Do not compare yourself with random salaries online. Second, choose one skill that creates leverage in your field. For many professionals, that could be learning to use AI tools and agents to research faster, automate repetitive work, produce better analysis, or communicate more clearly. But do not learn a tool only because it is popular. Connect it to a problem in your employees or clients genuinely care about. And third, create 1 month of clarity about your money. Track where it goes. Find one expense you can reduce without making your life miserable. And decide in advance where that money will go. A buffer, debt, long-term or short-term investment. So, 15 years ago, I was a university dropout earning around $500 a month in call center. Today, I lead a major project as an independent analyst. The journey was not a straight line. I was underpaid. I stayed in some situations too long. I doubt myself and overthought important decisions. But the next useful step kept changing. Choose more valuable problems. Build a rare skill combination. Check your market value. Build trust relationships. Save money. And act before you felt completely ready. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a better next decision. This is what this channel is about. Learn valuable skills. Earn more from them. Manage the difference. Invest it over time. And at the end, you create more freedom. If this is journey you want to take seriously, subscribe. In the next videos, I break down how to research your market value, negotiate without being aggressive, and use AI to become more useful in work.